Hi everyone, today I am going to respond to some of your comments. I really appreciate everyone who takes the time to reach out, leave a comment on my YouTube videos. Now I get a load of comments which I massively appreciate, saying thank you, your videos are very helpful, they're helping form part of my recovery, all that sort of great stuff, and I love to hear it, and that really does motivate me to make more and more videos. What I want to do today is go through some of those videos that require a bit more of a response. So if you have left a really positive comment or something sort of showing your appreciation for the videos, then thank you. It's been read and I massively appreciate it, and my apologies that I don't always reply to people. If this sort of video is something you like, hit the like button, and maybe I'll do them a bit more regularly. Early days I used to reply to every single comment I've got, but I really hope people understand that along with making the videos, I've also got a day job, other bits and pieces, family, all the rest of it, so I don't always have the opportunity to reply to every single one. So without further ado, these are in no particular order, and they are all sort of from the last week or so, if you left a comment before then, my apologies, but like I say, maybe this can become a bit more of a regular thing. So someone put, I'm 41 going on 42, according to society I should be married and have kids and my own home. I don't, kind of hard, feeling down. Now, I totally understand this. Actually, as someone of a similar age, I don't have children of my own. I have a stepdaughter. And I spoke at length in a video previously about how, whilst I didn't think I wanted children, and I've never really felt like I wanted children, gambling and the selfishness that caused, and the lifestyle and the restrictions that put on my life that caused, in terms of obviously fiscal stability, but also in terms of building and maintaining a suitable relationship to bring a child into, that did cost me that option. 41, 42 isn't too old to start a family. I'm not here to give sort of medical advice or anything like that, but it doesn't mean that option is completely off the table to you. Obviously, that's something you need to consider whether or not you want. As for owning a house, I have never owned a house. I rent my house, and actually I am one of those people who will sit here and bleat on till the end of the day about the benefits of renting. Am I saying this as some sort of cope, I think as the young people call it, because I've never been in the position to buy a house? Very possibly, who knows? But needless to say, if you've got a roof over your head, if you've got somewhere to live, whether that be a room that you pay for weekly, a small rented house like the one I'm living in at the moment, or a big mansion that you've bought yourself with your savings, then as long as you've got a roof over your head, then that is definitely something to be grateful for, and it's something I'm very, very grateful for. So take care of yourself. Try not to feel down. I know that's a lot easier said than done, but you're not old, and you've still got plenty of opportunities to change your life if you so wish to do so. I feel, could you do a video please on someone like my partner? Excuse me. He's at that point now where he knows when to stop, as in he pays his bills but blows all his leftover funds. I'm having to pay half the bills, yet I don't work. I'm disabled and have children. Again, another scenario I can kind of relate to. Even in the worst days of my gambling, generally speaking, my rent, bills, council tax, all that stuff always got paid up. It was the disposable section of my income that was very, very rapidly disposed of. And very quickly after payday, I would find I'd have no spare money. Now, whilst all the main bills have been paid, much like yourself, you're probably finding there are unexpected costs. And if you're not managing to hold on to any of that disposable bit, which maybe you can spend on frivolous stuff, but actually sometimes unexpected things crop up and you may need to actually dip into that pot to pay for more mundane but necessary things. That's somewhere I've been, and most months it's absolutely fine. Yes, you have to live a bit of a frugal lifestyle and you can't go out partying and gallivanting. God, I'm getting old using a word like gallivanting. I totally understand that. I would suggest that if he's doing that, he doesn't really have it under control, would be my honest from my honest experience. Because it's very easy to take practical steps to ensure that the important stuff is paid for. Make sure that all your money comes out on payday, all your direct debits come out on payday, or transfer money into a separate account to pay all the bills. If you're then proceeding to lose all of your disposable money, all of your personal income, and he's not giving a consideration, or is at least not able to consider you and your child in terms of his expenditure, then that would imply to me that he's not in full control of his gambling. I have made videos on the channel before about partners who gamble and how to, approach them, how to deal with them, and what action you should take. But maybe it's something I'll talk a bit more about, in the future, because I think they're often, partners and what have you are often kind of a forgotten group of people, aren't they? There's kind of the victims of a gambling addiction, which is no fault of their own. So yeah, maybe that's something I'll talk about in the future. In the meantime, there is a group called Gamma Non, not to be confused with Gamblers Anonymous, but they're called Gamma Non, which is basically a support group really for friends, family, partners of gambling addicts. So you may find, if you're struggling to find someone to reach out to about this, that you'll find an awful lot of like-minded people, over there. Like I say, there's a lot of unknown victims to this addiction besides the people who actually sort of develop it. Right, good content. Gambling my savings last year. I had 20 saved up, and now I've got 5k. I lost complete control around 12. I was staking £500 per bet. That sounds to me like classic, loss chasing. Obviously, you've had a big pot of money. It's dwindled. You got to a point, and then you want that money back. So you use what you've got left to then try and build it back up. That's pretty classic gambling behaviour. Something I've done many, many times. Mental lesson learnt. The mad thing is, I used to be a winning gambler with value betting and matched betting. Not a question so much, but certainly something I can relate to. As it stands, I would look at this and go, well, actually, you haven't done all your money. You still have a pot there, albeit a much diminished one, a safety net that you can use, put aside for, a rainy day, which it's just started to become here. And that will allow you and afford you a little bit of peace of mind. £5,000 in the bank, on the side, for emergencies, for expenditure, is a nice sum to have. If you go ahead and you continue to gamble and you lose that, you will wish you had that back. In terms of sort of mental security and peace of mind, which is something I know a lot of gamblers struggle with, you'll find there is a diminishing amount of peace of mind you get with additional funds. £5,000 will afford you an awful lot of peace of mind, an awful lot of emergency funds and security. So make sure you hang on to that. And if you're not sure you're going to be able to hang on to that because of your addiction, that's totally understandable. Then maybe consider getting that money into somewhere safe, either a savings account that you can't immediately withdraw from, or put it in the trusted hands of a loved one, friend, family member, someone that you really trust, on the basis that, yes, it's your money still. Yes, you can have it back whenever you want it, whenever you need it. Okay, but maybe put some caveats on around justifying what it's for, providing receipts, etc. Yes, I've spoken about this many times. It feels a little bit like you're a child again, and that you're getting pocket money, and that you're having to justify your expenditure, and if you're anything like my age, or even like a couple of decades younger, you're going to feel a little bit, it's going to feel a bit like you're being treated like a child. But the swallowing your pride and dealing with those feelings is, trust me, far, far better than losing that money and then the regret and the stress and the loss of that peace of mind that having that little bit of money saved, will afford you. So what I would say is, you've lost a lot of money, but that's gone. But you're not, in a massive, massive hole. So, draw a line, accept that money's gone. You're not getting that back, and keep what you've got left very, very safe. I've not gambled since June last year. I've now gone on breaks, away on holiday. I've got 5 suits, designer jeans and clothes. I have all GamStop, all gambling apps and cards, and deleted all gambling apps. I have made £10,000 since last June. You see, I can't gamble more profit into my pocket. Thanks, Phil, for all your videos. Apologies if I sort of misread that, but yeah. Well, that's great. I love to hear a success story, and whilst that's, again, not a question, what I will say is that financial recovery takes time. Certainly things like credit limits, credit scores, and actually getting debts repaid, all that sort of stuff, getting back on track can take years. I'm still paying my debts. My credit score is still pretty appalling. But there is a very quick financial what's a bit of financial daylight that appears quite quickly. you will find that when you're not disposing of your disposable income, you can spend it on normal things. And the amazing thing you'll find is, obviously you said you've bought like designer jeans, suits, holidays, all the rest of it, but you'll find so much pleasure from being able to go to Sainsbury's and buy a pair of jeans for 15 quid, or go and get yourself a bottle of wine for a Friday night for like £7 or £8. I've never spent more than £7 or £8 on a bottle of wine, blimey, not made of money. But you do get that, that ability to start to use money in a way like a normal person, i.e. a person without the addiction, and maybe a bit like yourself before you develop the addiction. So brilliant to hear, great to hear the success story. Like I say, if you're in the early stages of recovery, don't think you're going to be rushing out, booking holidays and buying designer suits. It takes time, but you will slowly notice it, and you will start to get immense pleasure from those small planned purchases rather than the complete unpredictable nature of gambling. Lost everything yet again. For me, it starts with alcohol. When I'm off the booze, I never feel or get tempted to gamble, but when I get into drinking cycle, I'll start gambling till I lose everything. I know I need to cut it straight from the root, and that is alcohol. Again, I mean, I guess if nothing else, this video proves that we're all, there's some underlying themes with a lot of us as addicts. Gambling was a catalyst for me. My apologies. Alcohol was a catalyst for my gambling, should I say? I think it's widely regarded that alcohol reduces our inhibitions, and whilst that can have humorous consequences if you're out on a night out and you decide to get on the dance floor and start body popping like you're a robot from 1984, that can be the funny side of losing your inhibitions. And yes, less said about that the better. But on a serious note, the dangerous negative side of losing your inhibitions can be that you think that little gamble won't harm you. Okay, it wasn't always when I drank for me, but certainly if I'd sort of set a limit, I would more often than not go through that limit that I'd set myself had I been drinking. Or if I decided that I wasn't going to gamble that day, maybe a few pints in the pub might make me think that a quick £20 note in the fruit machine won't hurt. So yes, I'm pretty sure that alcohol and gambling are a match made in hell, so to speak, and I'm pretty sure that a lot of people watching this will agree that alcohol is very, very much a catalyst for gambling. One thing I'd say about that as well is that if you decide to cut out your alcohol consumption, you will find net benefits away from simply not the trigger, avoiding the gambling triggers. I won't go too much into that. I did make some videos about my abstinent period from alcohol. People seem to think I became a little bit of a sort of a know-it-all, a little bit preachy, which is something I never aimed to be. But what I will say, in all honesty, hand on heart, is that if you do drink regularly, like I did and do now, okay, in all, full candid open honesty, when you stop, you will notice other benefits, and maybe that will give you a slightly more positive mindset, a general more positive mindset that will actually remove the desire to gamble. Because quite often, why we gamble because we want to escape. And if we're in a more positive place psychologically, mentally, then maybe we won't feel the need to rely on those crutches to escape from everyday life to make ourselves feel better. But like I say, I'm not an expert, but if you know for a fact, and I think this doesn't just count for alcohol, this counts for any trigger. If you can know something is a trigger, if you can identify that this is something that when it happens or when you do this, it causes this, and you want to stop doing this, then you avoid the triggers. It's cold light of day common sense. And I say that knowing full well that when I was gambling every day and losing all my money, I knew all this. So, but I just chose to ignore it. Right. Phil, this is a long comment, but I'll just take the summarise it. Phil, why not talk about video game addiction, video games markets, and goes on to talk about the size of the market, 7.6 billion. I don't know a huge amount about video games, probably the reason I don't talk about them. I have touched upon them when I've spoken about in-game purchases and in-game gambling, such as loot crates, sticker packs, or whatever they're called in FIFA, and things like that, where you are effectively buying yes, it's not currency, but you are buying the chance to win a tangible good, which can, through online means, be sold on. So if I bought a sticker pack in FIFA, and apologies to any gamers who are going to totally correct my terminology, if I bought a sticker pack in FIFA for £5, and I won Lionel Messi, I got Lionel Messi out the pack, and I knew I could sell him for real cash online, £500 on some online FIFA exchange forum, whatever it is, okay, that is gambling, okay, and I've touched upon that, and I think that's very dangerous, and I think regulation around that needs to be tightened. But the reason I don't talk about gambling, about video game addiction, is because I don't know much about it. I do know someone who, I used to work with, who got addicted to World of Warcraft, spent hours and hours every night. They were either working or they were warcrafting, and it cost him his marriage. So yes, any addiction, anything that can take you away from all the other aspects of your life, anything that can monopolise your time in such a way that you are not committing your time to things that maybe it should be committed to, is very, very dangerous. Gambling addiction has more obvious symptoms. It's naturally far, far more expensive. It's, has that instant loss factor. But anything that you become addicted to, which takes you away from other commitments and, can affect negatively and impact other parts of your life, is dangerous. So I think just be aware of the time you're spending on something, and if you find that you're not keeping up with your commitments and what have you, or it's harming your relationships, then maybe try and at least assess it from a more sort of constructive standpoint, a more objective standpoint, and see, actually, am I doing this too much? But yeah, maybe that's something that someone who knows a bit more about that can make a video about. Another lady here says, "You don't look beyond your years, Phil. I promise you're not a bad-looking guy at all." I don't know how that comment slipped in there. No idea how that actually made this in there. Yeah. Oh, I can't believe I put that in there. Terrible. Thank you very much to you anyway. I do appreciate it. Joking aside, thank you. I'm not sure the flat cap ever helps my my premature aging, but I haven't bothered doing anything with my hair today. So there you go. What would you be doing now if you hadn't ever gambled? Now, this is a weird one. What would I be doing now? Well, I'll tell you what I would be doing now. I would probably not be paying back the debt I've got. I would possibly, despite my avocation for renting, I may own my own property. The businesses that I've had in the past, which have gone under because I've not maintained them, because I've had not spent the time on them, because I've been busy gambling, maybe they would have developed into something more substantial. But it's an odd one, isn't it? Because had I not gambled, had I not had this addiction mess up so many parts of my life and lots of my relationships and all the rest of it, it might be that me and one of my ex-partners would still be together, because I wouldn't have fucked it up, for want of a better word, through gambling. Which means I wouldn't have found my now wife. Which means I now wouldn't be in the situation I'm in. I wouldn't be talking to you guys. And, it's the old sliding doors thing, isn't it? I'm not advocating for gambling, but would I go back and change it? I don't think I could, because I think if you look at your life now and count your blessings, retrospectively, you can't really change anything in your past, because if you do, then you don't end up where you are. If I had my time over again as a different person, then yeah, maybe I would. I'd lessons from a previous life and all of that. But yeah, it's hard to say. I think certainly in a financial respect, in terms of my businesses and all the rest of it, I would be in a better position. I would probably be, for my age, further down the expected life path that is, expected. But would I change it? I can't change it. I couldn't wish to change it, because I wouldn't be me and I wouldn't be where I am now. But yeah, a blunt answer to your question is I'd be better off, and my business would be bigger, and I wouldn't be talking to you now. I said it again. I'll say it again. You're a likeable character. This is no small feat. You should keep going. Yes, I think I made quite a long rambly video a while ago about the future of the channel and what have you. And this guy very kindly said, because I asked in that video, didn't I, about whether or not I should make videos about non-gambling related topics, just about life experiences, my advice maybe for younger people, my opinions on things, that sort of thing. And this person very kindly said this. What about the videos you made when you were driving home from work a few years back? I'll come on to that in a second. You were just telling people what you thought, how you were, chilled, engaging, being Phil. Doing that every day will make your channel grow exponentially. You don't need profundity, although you have it. Go for your life. Now, I've toyed with this idea so many times, making like almost daily vlogs, which is which makes me sound like I want to be Logan Paul. I'm far too fat and old for that. But anyway, yeah, I like to do that. What I don't want to do is turn off the people who tune in here for, addiction advice. People who come here as part of a support network for their recovery and all the rest of it. Maybe I'll do it on a second channel. And I mull over these ideas. I toy with them all the time. I've got a list of things I wanted to talk about on my phone as long as my arm. But I've not made the videos because I don't want to put off people who just come here for the the addiction advice and what have you. Because ultimately that was the original purpose of the channel, you see. But if that is, if you genuinely think you would watch that, just let me know. I might still do it, but that would depend whether I do it here or on a separate channel. And if I do it on a separate channel, then obviously I'll come on here begging you guys to go over there and subscribe and start building that up. But yeah, obviously my first priority on this channel, as it always has been, will be talking to you guys about addiction, about recovery, and trying to offer my advice, or at the very least my experiences around that, and so you're not alone and you can learn by my experience. What happened? Oh, this is oddly, this runs on. Actually, before I go on to this one, the last guy talked about doing the videos that I used to film in the car on the way home from work. I still, to this day, get grief for those videos in the comment section on YouTube. People saying, "Why are you talking to the camera when you're driving? It's really unsafe." I will very quickly just say I never spoke to the camera. If you watch those videos, you will see that I'm looking at the road. That car was an X-Trail. The instrument cluster, if you're familiar with cars, was right in the middle, which is ironically where the phone and the camera were. So I used to kind of glance over because that's where the speedo was and the rev counter and all the rest of it. But yeah, I still get grief for those videos. People saying you should be concentrating on the road, but yet you see people driving, talking to the person in the passenger seat, dancing along to music, looking round to talk to their kids in the back. But me looking at the road, just talking one way, for some reason is incredibly dangerous. Don't understand it, but there you go. But maybe I'll start doing those again and just put up with the haters, as I think they call them online. What happened to the second part of what happened to the second part on the crypto casinos? You know what? I'm going to multiple reasons. Let's be brutally honest, right? Let's be candid here. I started recording it. Basically, the whole second video was going to be about one specific streamer and how their channel had kind of died a bit of a death. Several things happened. That person had a bit of a rough time of it, as I know from people I know. So I didn't really want to sort of kick someone while they're down. Also, their channel picked up again, and they started getting, more and more subscribers. So, so the sort of making a downfall of a video would have been a bit, a bit of a moot point at that stage. Also, you know what? If I make a video, right, and I entitle it "The Downfall of the Bandit" or "The Downfall of Rock and Roller" or something like that, okay, it will encourage probably a lot more views than my average videos about gambling recovery and quitting and abstinence and all that sort of thing. I guarantee they would probably be my highest viewed videos because people love that sort of stuff. They love the drama. They like to see someone's downfall. They love to see someone come on and criticize affiliates and streamers and all the rest of it, right? I appreciate that, and everyone is entitled to their own opinions, and I think my opinions have been made clear in the past, but I could do that. I could get loads of views, and dare I say I could actually make some money off of those videos, all right? But what if I did that? What if I did a video saying the rise and fall of the Bandit slots, okay? And it got 1 million views, and it paid me, $2,000 in AdSense or whatever. What would I do? Would I go, oh, okay, well, that was a nice little one-off, I'll go back to making my little videos talking about recovery and addiction and trying to help people? Or would I go, oh, I'll tell you what, that was a good payday, let's make another one. Let's make, the Downfall of the Bandit Part 2, or, the Downfall of Rock and Roller, and then try and sort of actually turn myself into one of those sort of commentary, slating people, calling people out channels, because it would be ultimately paying me money. And everyone's got a price, haven't they? And whilst I appreciate these videos are monetized, they're not exactly much of an income stream for me, all right? If I break 3 figures on a month, it's incredible. But do I want to use that bit of, the following I've got, that subscriber level I've got, that bit of tiny little bit of influence that I have to start calling people out just to make higher viewed videos? Yes, of course, there's a temptation there, but I sort of had second thoughts about it. Plus, there's so many videos, if you look on YouTube, talking about crypto casinos and crypto streamers and how they're all fake and all the rest of it. I don't think another voice is really required. I think it would literally be a vanity thing for me to get views. So apologies to people who were waiting for that video, because I know I said I was making it, and I did start making it, but I just didn't really think it would add an awful lot to anything other than just adding fuel to an already raging fire. This is obviously a very hot topic. It's something that people feel very, very strongly about, but I don't think just poking the beast is going to necessarily actually make anything any better. So that's that. Married to my husband 15 years, and we had a baby 7 weeks ago. Well, congratulations. I hope it's all going well, and I hope you're not too exhausted. I'm trying my best to hang in there, as I am an RN. My apologies, RN. No, my apologies. I don't know what the abbreviation is. I'm sure someone will tell me. So I've always picked up where he's been short. I'm struggling because I absolutely love him, but I do not see a stable future or my retirement with him. I feel you should be further ahead in life. Now, that is a common theme, feeling like you should be further ahead in life. It's something I get. It's obviously one of the questions I had earlier. People feel like, and it does, because basically it just stunts your progress through life. If we assume life is one sort of a predicted curve, all the time you're gambling, all the time you're battling addiction, you will basically be staying in roughly the same place, or maybe taking retrograde steps. Now I'm getting bank loan denial letters in the mail from him seeking loans. Not sure what to do because he lies when I ask questions. Not sure what I'm going to do. Gamblers, even if they are inherently honest people, will become very dishonest people when they are wrapped up in an addiction. Because, by lying to other people, you're denying it to yourself. And by denying it to yourself, you don't need to address it. And if you come out and you talk about it, then you're put into a position where you need to address it. If I told my wife I have a gambling addiction, then there is no option for me but to take steps to address that addiction, to go to meetings, to do the blocks, to self-exclude, to hand over my finances to her, to do all these things, okay, that maybe he's not ready to do. I will make more videos in the future because it seems to be a common theme about partners who gamble, about dealing with that. The very, very quick thing I will say, two things. Firstly, protect yourself. Okay, if you have your own money, if you are the primary earner in the household, make sure that you are financially protected. Make sure that his loan applications, his bad credit does not impact you. Make sure he does not have access to money that you have saved, maybe you've inherited, maybe whatever, that you need for you or that you should have for you. If you want to go and spend it on him in the future or spend it on the family in the future, then fair play. Okay, but make sure you are protected financially and in terms of the roof over your head and your credit score and all the rest of it. The second thing is the bad news, which is that you will not be able to help him until he wants to get help. Okay, needing to quit gambling, as I've said many, many times on this channel, is totally, totally different to wanting to quit gambling. I needed to quit gambling for many years. It's only when you want to quit that you can actually start taking steps, doing something about it. Until you actually want to do it, rather than just knowing you need to, you'll just be banging your head against a brick wall. It will cause conflict. Now, whether you can deal with that conflict, whether you want to keep in the situation, that's not for me to say. Okay, but protect yourself. And when he decides that he wants to stop, then, if you have the strength in you, and as a new mother, I can imagine you don't have an awful lot of strength going spare, then, support him if you can. But it's not your responsibility. Ultimately, it's his responsibility to deal with the problem. It's his responsibility to get help. It's his responsibility to quit. Okay, and if he doesn't, then just make sure you're safe. Make sure your personal money is safe. Okay, and as for your relationship, unfortunately, I can't advise, but I will try and make more videos on that subject in the future because it does seem to be a very common theme. 19, no car, $170 in my bank account, have a job. I'm fucked, man. All I do is cry. Right, firstly, my apologies. I'm very, very sorry to hear that you are in a situation where you feel that low. I've been there. I've been in horrible sort of mental states before. The one thing I will say, no car, neither here nor there unless you desperately need one to get to work, and that's going to cost you your job. $170 in your bank account. If that is your only account, if you don't have any debts, if you don't have any credit cards, and you have actual cash in your bank account, then you are probably significantly better off than most gamblers. But most importantly, and the very, very most important thing here, you're 19. All right. I was in this situation, only far, far worse, with debt and all the rest of it, 20 years after you. Maybe not 20, but, 15 years later than this. So you have 15 years advantage on me, and you probably have far more advantage on other people watching this video and other people in this community. All right. 19 is no age. 19, you can start again. You can rebuild everything. Okay. Lack of car, small bank balance, no major dramas. I mean, to be honest, my stepdaughter's 17, so I know a lot of sort of 18, 19-year-olds, and most of them don't have money in their bank accounts. A lot of them, probably most of them, don't have cars. And so if you've got a job, you've got a bank account, you have, but you've got the most important thing. You've got opportunity and you've got life ahead of you, and you've got many, many years on someone like me. I'm rebuilding my life. I started rebuilding my life in my 30s. And I'm sure there'll be people rebuilding their life in their 40s, 50s, 60s, whatever. It's not too late to start, but you have a massive, massive advantage in the fact you can start now, and you can live your 20s, you can live your 30s, right? Just don't throw it away. Couple more. I'm 18 years old and I just started gambling, and to be fair, I'm kind of starting to get addicted. But that being said, is there a game that's better than the other, or are they all rigged? I would be remiss of me to advise on games. All I would say is that they are all rigged in so much as, with maybe one or two exceptions I can think of, every game has a house edge. Every game has an advantage to the gambling company, to the casino, to the online casino, to the bookmaker, to whatever. They vary, but there's always an edge. So in that respect, yeah, they're all rigged. They're all rigged that if you keep playing them, you're going to lose. There are games with a smaller house edge, with a higher RTP, so to speak, but ultimately it's kind of academic. The fact you said you kind of feel like you're starting to get addicted is a massive, massive warning to me, a big flashing red light, a big red flag. If you feel like you're starting to get addicted, then you possibly already are showing the early signs of addiction. It's good that you've acknowledged it. I think that's the most important thing. You've acknowledged it, you've noticed it, you feel like you're starting to get addicted. So maybe try and take a bit of a break, cooling off period, right? Give it 30 days and sort of see how you get on. See if you're drawn back in. See if you're able to do it. Now, that's not an acid test, because even an alcoholic can go a certain amount of time without alcohol, okay? But it's going to be a good test to see if the urges are there. And if you feel yourself being drawn back in, if you feel like you're unable to control it, then that is a damn good sign that you are not in control of your gambling, and gambling is starting to get into control of you, and that is when you need to take action to stop this from getting any worse, and before you end up like me and so many other people in these comments, Right, it's starting to rain, so I'll quickly wrap through the last couple of ones I've written down. And completely off topic, what model is the Stone Island jacket that you wear in some of your videos, please? Thanks. I don't know which one you're referring to. Most of my Stone Island stuff, to be fair, is a minimum of a decade old. If it's the blue one, I think that's very early 2000s, so that's probably 20 years old. If you let me know which one it is, I can give you the art number if you want, so you can look it up. But yeah, I do like my Stone Island stuff, but most of it is just pretty old. Yeah, so just let me know, and I'm happy to send you the art number so you can look it up. Very finally, maybe I may have missed it in one of our other videos, but what advice do you have for people like me who really enjoy gambling? I just love the feeling of it. It makes me feel happy. The negative repercussions don't seem to outweigh the fun I'm having while doing it. Would love to see a video on this, and loved all your videos. It's helped cut back a lot. Gambling can be fun. It's a weird note to end on, really, but gambling can be fun, and a lot of people enjoy it without major catastrophe. If you are enjoying it and you don't think it's having any negative consequences, then great, good luck to you. Hope you win. But please, 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 just be on the lookout for any telltale signs that maybe you're not in complete control of it. As I said about one of the questions, just up the list a little bit. If you start to feel like you are spending too much time doing it, if you're starting to spend money on it that you could have spent on other things, if you start to feel like you're not enjoying it at any point, and if it's starting to cause you stress, and one of the litmus tests I always think is if the experience of losing is much more negative than the experience of winning is positive. So if a £100 loss, you know, really puts you on a massive downer, but £100 win is neither here nor there and you just brush it off, that's a very good sign that gambling is starting to get a bit of a hold on you. All right, but there are lots and lots of signs, lots of signals, and I would say they come consciously and they come subconsciously, and neither should be ignored. All right, if there's something in the back of your head just whispering to you, listen to it. If there's something quite obvious, like you've just spent some money that you had earmarked for something else on gambling, something conscious, then listen to it, observe it, and try and work out what made you do that. And if you haven't got an answer, there's a very good chance that is the sign of an addiction. But if you can do it well within your means, if you can do it when you want and not at any other time, if it doesn't cause any negative connotations and you're only playing with money you can afford to lose, which is a horrible cliche, right, then good luck to you. All right, tons of people gamble in the same way that tons of people drink without becoming alcoholics. But it is very, very dangerous, and just keep an eye out for those early warning signs. That's about it. Very long video. Let me know if you like this sort of video. You know, maybe what I'll do, like I say, once a week, just round up some of the comments and just talk through some of the ones that I think are interesting. In the meantime, there's a few ideas there for those questions and comments for future videos, so keep an eye out for them. There will, as always, be a link to my Patreon in the description below. One of the comments I actually edited out of here is about the adverts on the videos. Now, yes, the videos are monetized. I don't control what adverts go on, where they go on, or whatever. I just click monetize and just leave YouTube to it. Ultimately, if I can develop this either through Patreon or something else into a revenue stream or whatever, then maybe I'll just take the ads off the videos. They don't really pay very much, to be honest, but yeah, I'm not going to lie. You know, I've got gambling debt, and every little helps, as Tesco's once has said. But we'll see. But yeah, if you want to support the channel, that's an option. If you don't want to do it that way, just like, subscribe, watch the videos, leave a comment, and maybe I can respond to in the future. And I shall speak to you all soon. Stay safe, stay sane, and if you're watching this video on the day it goes up, have a great weekend. And well done for making it to the end, because it was bloody long. Stay safe, everyone.